Hi guys. So normally around this time of the year, I'm coordinating times to come out and talk to my customers in person at their office. But obviously that's not a viable option this time around. So I'm shooting this video instead. So I'm going to go through this pretty quick and not take too much of your time. And there's mainly two things I want to talk about. One of them is future plans for 2021. A lot of my customers are launching new products or have marketing campaigns, things like that, that I need to kind of keep track of. I'm not seeing a whole lot of that with you guys. You're still in the same industry. You've got your same sales territory. I know what keywords drive the most traffic to your website, and of those, presumably which ones are driving the most business. And I'm not seeing a big kind of course change for 2021, at least from an SEO perspective. But please let me know if I'm wrong. Give me some feedback. If you are planning any kind of marketing campaigns or anything, let me know because I might make some adjustments to how I do things accordingly. So the other thing I want to talk about is what I've done for you thus far. So I haven't been with you a full year yet, but I have been with you long enough to where I can show you some results. Now it's going to be a little bit easier if we go over to my computer to show you this. So generally speaking, what I do can be broken down into on-page SEO and off-page SEO. On-page SEO is the work I do when I log into your website and make changes that for the most part you can see. Off-page SEO is more kind of technical stuff I do sort of out in the internet to make your brand a larger part of the online conversation. So back to the on-page SEO. So some examples of the work I do here. For example, I go through and I add content to your pages. And in some cases, I also am adding infographics. And the reason for this is threefold. First of all, adding more text to your pages increases your website's pool of keywords, and it makes it so that Google can match more searches to your website. And second to that, if there isn't kind of a minimum threshold of text on a page and someone comes to that page, a lot of times they'll bounce out very quickly because they sort of make the assumption that there isn't enough information on that page to answer whatever question they came to this page to have answered. And thirdly, and this especially ties into the infographics, is that the longer a visitor stays on a page, the more valuable Google assumes that user found the content to be. And therefore, Google is more likely to present this web page or website higher up in search results because it feels like the content is valuable. So something I'm working on right now, kind of along these same lines, is I've installed a blog. And I've got it down here in your footer, which is good enough for Google to find. And in a way, I'm not as interested in visitors navigating down there and finding your blog. These blog pages are going to be more like gateway pages to be found on Google that bring users into your site. And again, it's not so much that I want your regular visitors to happen onto the blog. I want visitors out on the internet to come in through your blog. And the importance of having a blog from an SEO point of view is it gives me a place to add a lot of free form text that maybe doesn't fit nicely into one of your other pages. For example, if I want to do a deep dive into some niche topic, I can do that in the blog section where I'm not going to go and invent another service just to add niche content. In fact, for the most part, I try to stay out of your main pages because I don't want to disrupt that. You've obviously put a lot of time into how this website looks and the messaging. And as an SEO professional, I try to stay out of that as much as I can. But that's not quite the case in the blog where I plan on adding a lot of content over time. And you can see that so far I've already added 2 blog posts I've got a few test posts under here just so I could see what this page would look like when it's fully populated. So now on to more of the technical off-page SEO. So a big part of this is what's called local SEO, which is when Google knows where a searcher is located, it is more likely to deliver search results based on proximity to a business. So for example, I can go on Google Maps, and Google Maps encourages users to add elements to the map. So I can do things like drop markers or put driving instructions. Or like in this case, I've dropped a pin, and that pin contains your address, your phone number, and some keywords. Or another thing that I do is I find what's called guest blog posts. So for example, I got this company, limitlesspavingandconcrete.com, to write this sort of generic article on resurfacing asphalt parking lots, and dropped a brand mention in here that also links back to your site. And this isn't so much about driving traffic from this website to your website. This is really more for Google to find. And again, it's really all about Google seeing that your brand is part of the online conversation. Something else I do, which technically it's on-page SEO. I make changes to what's called your meta titles and meta descriptions. And basically what that does is your meta title and descriptions are what people see when your page or your website comes up in Google's search results. So you can see right here. So another thing that I spend a lot of time with, and a lot of these things I do on a monthly basis, but I mix it up. I can't constantly be doing the same things in the same places. I need a lot of variety. And one of the other things I do is I do kind of classic backlinking. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with backlinking, but it's getting other websites to link back to yours. And another thing I do kind of along those lines is there's a lot of websites that allow businesses to create free business profiles. And it's not unlike, maybe like going to Yelp and you can create kind of your Yelp profile. There's a lot of websites that let you do that. So I take those opportunities, and it lets me do things like put the name of your company, your address, your phone number, maybe a short description of what you do, and a link back to your website, of course. But what it really comes down to, what I'm trying to achieve here is to improve your rank, and not just your rank for any keywords, but keywords that are bringing the most traffic and the most, like the right type of traffic that presumably will turn into business. So you can see here, there's a column for keyword, which pretty self-explanatory, except you can also see that there's tags here for Los Angeles. If it's tagged with Los Angeles, it is showing results based on if the searcher was physically located in Los Angeles. And if it's not tagged with Los Angeles, you can just make the assumption that it's searching from the point of view of someone in San Diego. Now, when I first came on board with you guys, I think you had maybe 2 page 1 rankings. You did have several branded rankings, but I don't count those. If someone is searching Eagle Paving, that's, first of all, Google's going to put you on page 1 for that anyway. And secondly, it's my job as an SEO professional to try to get you business that you would not have otherwise gotten. So for example, if someone's searching for Eagle Paving, like they're already trying to find you. They're gonna find you. And that's not the business I'm after. So I only count non-branded keywords. So if you look in this list, you can see the top one, pavement company. You're in position 1 for that, which is great. I can look at some of the other columns and see it's got a volume of 60. which just means how much monthly search traffic there is. It's a couple other columns here I won't get into. But anyway, we've gone from roughly two page one rankings to now we have a little bit over 20, I believe. And we're starting to get some of the whales in this industry. So if you look down here under paving companies, you'll see that you're in position 9. And anything between position 1 and position 10 is basically page 1. So we're in position 9 for a keyword that gets 3,700 monthly searches. And we can even see that it does bring a significant amount of traffic to your website. But my software is actually pretty conservative. If you were to go to Google and search paving companies on your own, like I did here, you'll see you're actually in first place. In fact, you're not only in first place in regular search results, but you're also first place in what's called the map pack, which is this kind of these 3 websites that are listed right under the map here. So kind of the short version here is things are working. This is coming along exactly how I want them to. We're having kind of this gradual ramp up in rank. It tends to be that kind of, I mean, by no means that I want to start out slow, and in fact we kind of didn't. We got a lot of good keyword grabs right at the beginning. We got some low-hanging fruit. But we didn't have this kind of massive spike and then it all sort of flatlined. We've had kind of a short initial spike in rank, and then it's sort of ramped up over time. And that's usually indication that these rankings are going to stick. So anyway, that's a short description. Like I said before, if you have any questions, I can get on a call. You can ask me through email. We can jump on a Zoom, or I will also be continuing to give you my monthly updates with little updates in between.
So I hope you found this information valuable. I certainly want to be able to communicate, the value that hopefully I'm bringing to your business. And one of the biggest complaints people have about SEO agencies is not their failure to get results, because most good SEO agencies can increase a website's rank. The biggest complaint is lack of communication. That business owners kind of cut a check once a month and they're just sort of in the dark about what their agency's doing with their money. So I'm hoping this video answers some of that. And of course, I greatly appreciate your business and I'm looking forward to a great 2021.